Greetings, fellow Whovians. Well, time to look at another classic Doctor Who story, and today we're going to be looking at the Sea Devils today, so here we go. The Doctor and Jo visit the Master, now held in captivity on a small island prison after being captured by UNIT at the conclusion of the Daemons. The Master is being held indefinitely and is the only prisoner. He is watched by CCTV, and the island is patrolled by armed guards, trained to resist the Master's hypnotic powers, and even protected by minefields. He claims to have reformed, but refuses to reveal the location of his TARDIS. As they depart, the old-school patriotic governor, Colonel Trenchard, tells them that some ships have been mysteriously disappearing. The Doctor cannot resist investigating, and he and Jo are soon attacked, while examining a sea fort, by an underwater Silurian. The man-sized bipedal lizard is called a Sea Devil by a crew member who has been driven half-mad. They escape to the nearby naval base, HMS Seaspide, run by the efficient Captain John Hart. Despite the Doctor's eccentric behavior, such as claiming to have known Nelson personally, an alliance forms. Hart's in charge of the adaptation of the sea fort for use as a sonar testing station. The Doctor meanwhile discovers that the Master, assisted by misguided Trenchard, is stealing electrical equipment from the naval base to build a machine that will control the Sea Devils. The evil Time Lord intends to use the reptiles as an army to enable him to conquer the planet, and he begins by using the machine to summon some of them from the sea. Soon, however, a battle for the prison ensues, during which Trenchard, who had believed he was aiding his country against enemy agents, is killed. The Doctor and Jo are forced to flee the HMS Seaspide, where Hart tells them a naval submarine has disappeared. The crew prepare to battle the Sea Devils. The Doctor investigates in a submarine bell and is seized by the Sea Devils, who take him to their leader. The Doctor enters the Sea Devil space and tries to encourage peaceful negotiation, recalling how he had failed to broker an agreement between mankind and the Silurians. But matters are left unresolved when the base is attacked by depth charges. This attack has been ordered by gluttonous and short-sighted politician Robert Walker, who has arrived at HMS Seaspide to take control of the situation and is intent on repeating UNIT's actions on Wenley Moor, blowing up the creatures, but this time with nuclear weapons. Dun dun dun! Hart and Jo are opposed to the attack, but at least it allows the Doctor cover to flee, even if he has failed in his initial attempt to sue for peace. The Doctor persuades Walker to allow him a final attempt at negotiation, but in the meantime the Sea Devils capture the naval base. They have been inspired to such actions by the Master, who still wishes to instigate a war. The Master then forces the Doctor to help build a machine to revive Sea Devil colonies all over the world. Returning to the Sea Devil base, the Master activates the device, whereupon the Sea Devils imprison both Time Lords, as they are now both equally useless to them. However, the Doctor has sabotaged the machine, and he and the Master escape the base, using escape equipment from the captured submarine. As they are rescued, massive power feedback from the sabotaged machine destroys the Sea Devil colony before the military attack can begin. As he has done before, the Master is able to escape capture, this time by faking a heart attack and hijacking a rescue hovercraft, and flees the scene. So yeah, once again, that darn Master got away from the good guys once again. So anyway, let's get some continuity production into this story. The Master is seen imprisoned in a high security island establishment, having been finally caught at the conclusion of the Series of the Daemons at the end of the previous season. He states that he learned of the Sea Devils from the files he stole from the Time Lords in Colony in Space. This story introduces the aquatic cousins of the Silurians, the Sea Devils. The Silurians first appear in Doctor Who and the Silurians, and appear alongside the Sea Devils in Warriors of the Deep. In this story, the term Sea Devil is used only by humans, although Silurians and Sea Devils use the term in Warriors of the Deep. The earlier Doctor Who and the Silurians have resulted in many letters from scientists and geologists who argued that it was impossible for a reptilian life form to have existed in the Silurian era. In this story, the Doctor admits that the name Silurian is inaccurate and states they should be more probably called Eocenes. Working titles for this story included the Sea Silurians. Because of the story's location filtering requirements, it was allocated the second slot in the production run for Doctor Who's 9th season, so as to allow filming in October. However, to alternate the stories between those set on Earth and those set in other worlds, it was transmitted third in the season. This is the first time stories were produced out of transmission order. The serial was mainly filmed around Portsmouth, HM Naval Base Portsmouth, No Man's Land Fort, the Isle of Wight, and HMS Reclaim. The Royal Navy waived royalty fees on the use of stock footage and clips showing ships in action. Happy with on-screen credits and the positive publicity generated by the show. Many stars volunteered to help with the filming, so that most of the extras during the sequence at the naval base were actually service personnel, except in some of the stunts. In the first episode, the script called for Joe Grant and the Doctor to climb up a ladder to get into a sea fortress. The ladder proved too slippery for Katie Manning, so Stephen Stewart Fell did the shot dressed as Grant. Interesting. A model of a submarine was created by purchasing a Woolworth submarine model kit and then altering the propeller. By chance, the alterations to the model strongly resembled an actual prototype submarine being developed by the Ministry of Defense. After footage of the model was broadcast as part of the story, Director Michael Bryant received a visit from two naval intelligence officials who were concerned about where the visual effects team got the plans for the model from. When the wiping episodes ceased in 1978, it was discovered that the first 3 episodes had only survived as black and white telerecordings made for overseas sales. In the early 1980s, NTSC transfers of all 6 episodes were returned from broadcasters in Canada. These were converted back to the original PAL format. The BBC Radiophonic Workshop's Malcolm Clark composed the incidental music for the story. It was his first contribution to the series and was notably more experimental than the series' usual scores by freelance composer Delly Simpson. Clark's score was entirely electronic, created on the Radiophonic Workshop's EMS Synthi 100 synthesizer. His score for the serial has been described as startling in its range of obtrusive electronic timbres and relative melodic paucity, mixed music and sound effects, and presented uncomfortable sounds to a substantial early evening audience on Saturdays in a way not duplicated in Britain before or since. The music was presented as a suite on the 1983 LP Doctor Who The Music and was released in full on the 2000 compilation album Doctor Who at the BBC Radiophonic Workshop Volume 2, New Beginnings, 1970 to 1980. Parts of the incidental music, as well as dialogue, were sampled by Orbital on their track Doctor Look Out. When the Doctor bribes the ferryman, he tries to make a funny excuse about having injured his leg in the Crimea. It's apparent that this is anachronistic. He tries Gallipoli and El Alamein before conceding that the excuse didn't really matter anyway. The Doctor claims to have been a personal friend of Admiral Lord Nelson in this story. Whilst imprisoned, the Master watches and claims complete misinterpretation of the children's television show The Clangers, much as he would while watching the Teletubbies in the 2007 episode The Sound of Drums. So, yeah, overall a pretty good, interesting story, and we get introduced to another monster that we would see again in the future. So, overall, I give the Sea Devils 4 sonic screwdrivers out of 5. Well, join me next week as we meet another race that's probably not so friendly, the mutants. So, until then, this is Whovian Queen saying, "Oh my giddy aunt! When I say run, run! I have a reverse polarity of the neutron flow. Would you like a jelly, baby? Fantastic! Allons-y! Geronimo! Bow ties are cool, fezzes are cool, and Stetsons are cool."